Does anybody out there have some cool Tableau public dashboards that they've been putting out lately?
I'm biased, and I'm gonna say I love the ones that I produced.
Yeah. Good.
But I'm excited to see everybody else's. I actually want to see, Mark, I want to see that update of the dashboard you were working on last month.
Yeah, well, I wasn't paying attention if Maureen was on the call today or not. I didn't get to see her, but she and I have been working on that in the past couple of weeks, and we actually do have that up. We haven't actually embedded it on our corporate website yet, but we actually have it up there. And if you want me to throw it up there, I will.
Yeah, totally. Put it on the screen so we can see it.
All right, just give me a sec here. All right, for some reason here, I'll show you as it appears, but for some reason it's not actually expanding in the screen like I would expect, but regardless, I'll throw it up there. All right, are you able to see what looks like a map yet?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right, so for some of you, you've seen an iteration of this before, but what you're looking at is we have 1,700 certified companies around the world who are certified to AISC's quality system. And one of the things that people want to know who are looking for certified companies is, where are they? How many of them are close to me? We have two versions of this site. We have the international one, which is what you're looking at, and then a different version, which is simply the the domestic United States, or the continental United States there. And so this map is, or this visualization is pretty simple. You just click on a particular certification type, and or you do a company search by name, and it will populate the map. When you hover over it, you get information about their certifications that they hold. And if you click on a link, which I won't do, but if you click on a link, it'll go to the website of that company. And if you click obviously on one of the company names, it will filter and show where that company is. This one happens to be in Canada, and you can get some information from there. So it's very, very straightforward, very simple. We use Salesforce as the single data source. We bring it in. Currently, what we're doing every day is Maureen is going in every day, refreshing the data on her desktop, uploading it to public, and that takes about 5 minutes or something, 10 minutes, but we do it every single day. We would like for it to happen every half an hour, but once again, we're happy to have this at this point, considered neither Maureen nor I are in any way awesome at doing this. So
this is actually pretty awesome by itself, right? Because if like you and I talked about this actually offline, but if you're somebody like me and you're working on the project that I'm working on, where I have to be able to track down who are steel fabricators, who are steel suppliers, who are steel, whatever it is related to the steel industry, that is just in my zip code or within the county, this is tremendously powerful. This is tremendously powerful. Like if I can just zoom into New York, right? And
right. So in that particular example, you actually have a state it's really small on my screen the way it is right now, but if I pick what I think is New York, that might be Pennsylvania.
It's
I
the one
can't
that
tell.
says 58 on it.
Okay.
I think you got Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, Pennsylvania.
Mhm.
Let me. So it has all the companies, and of course they're filtered down here with their contact information, and so like I'm in West Virginia, and the company where I used to work is in West Virginia. So if you were looking for Huntington Steel, which is the name of the company where I used to work,
Mhm.
just a simple wildcard search there,
Right.
it will put them on the map. So that's pretty much what this does, except in this case it broke. Oh, I didn't spell it right. No wonder. No wonder.
But you know what's really great about this is that it's showing, first of all, the versatility of the system, and second of all, the embed function on the AISC website is really pretty critical, because if what you're, and you have, this is exactly what you're doing. You constantly have information going in, and that information has to be public facing, and people have to be able to access it easily, right? And then that whole thing is really tremendously powerful in terms of, I mean, I'm speaking from my experience. Just the project that I'm working on right now, or the two projects that I worked on previously, if we're doing and we were doing a huge number of like gas fed generator installations on the top of buildings, and we had to install steel dunnage on the roofs after the roofs got repaired, right? That's a specific kind of steel. So you got to have the fabricator and the erector, and then the installer, right?
Right.
and you got to coordinate all that kind of stuff, and then and trying to find those people, because I would constantly get calls in the program. I was like, well, do you know any steel fabricators? Do you know any suppliers? Do you know, and so I don't have the answer because I'm not somebody who's in that industry. But now that I found you, I know where to go go looking for it. Right.
Good.
But
Good.
For people that are working at that level, and there's a lot of that going on. So people that are working at that level, that's the first thing that they need is to be able to go to that type of site and track that down.
Good deal.
Yeah. I was just looking online right now about the tab command, TAB-CMD, is a program that you can automate some things on your site, but I looked it up just now and it doesn't look like it interfaces with public.
Okay.
So although it seems like they may in the future,
Okay.
but that's something that I've automated a few things on the site, like downloading or publishing, stuff like that. You can automate some things on the Tableau site.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Great. Anybody else have project they would like to share with us, or a question they need answered?
Here I have one other question that's completely unrelated to certification. How's everybody doing with the map layers functions? Has anybody dug into that yet? I mean, mapping is one thing, but then map layers is a whole other level of stuff.
Yeah, a little bit. Probably not as much as I could be.
Share what you're doing with it, please, because I'm interested in hearing about it.
Oh boy. Let's see. I've got more of a not necessarily a work-related project, but I've got something sort of a fun project that I was working on. Let's see. So I have let's see. I had a genealogy dashboard I was working on. So I downloaded my ancestry.com genealogy in here, and then I wanted to show where everyone was from. So like these are all of my this is my great grandparents and where they were born. And I just wanted to show the state and also the city and also the county, because some of them were like born out in the county, so there wasn't really a city attached to it. So anyway, that was something. So it shows the state, county, and
municipality.
Yeah, and the city together. And
Interesting.
yeah, so that's another sort of fun project for anyone who's interested in genealogy and going back. And that you can, Tableau can do some of the mapping. Ancestry doesn't do mapping really well, but they have all the data there, and you can pull it out and get some good stuff on that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I don't think I have this published. Maybe I will publish this, but mine goes back to 1530s.
That's wild.
Yeah, I've also done it for like some geo. Oh shoot, I should get another one open. If you have one that you're thinking of, you can share that. Like you can do these buffer calculations. Like I would have a map that would have like our office locations, and the office locations would be one layer on the map, and then another one would be our project locations. And then you could show like distance from office to the project that you're working on.
What do you have that? Can you put that up?
I don't think that one's ready.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's when you get that one finished, I want to see it, because that sounds like that sounds real interesting. That sounds like definitely what would be enormously helpful for the industry.
Yeah, I will upvote that one too. Yeah, I'll upvote that.
No, I'm serious, because that's like we've got you've got an office location and a project location, and then what if you don't have the right resources in that location, right?
Yeah, I can.
You don't have to, if it's not ready, don't put it up, all right? But when I'm just saying, whenever it is ready, it would be great to see it.
Yeah, I thought I could find it, but it's not yeah, readily available. All right. Well, we can have some time at the end for sharing some more too, but I think since it's 3:30, I'll go ahead and get started with my featured case discussion.
Nice.
So I was gonna talk to you guys about two things. One was the issue tracking on projects, and another was qualitative data analysis, specifically sentiment analysis. I wanted to share with you guys what I've been doing with that, and maybe hear what you guys think you could do with it too. So we have an issue. Okay, I'll start by sharing my screen here. I will share, yep, this one. So we have an issue with our projects. And we have this project timeline, which is pretty, I think I've shared this before, so I won't go over it in too much detail. But basically it just shows during the lifespan of the project, this was how much we billed on the project, and then this was what our profit was on the project. So we can see like some projects, they do well and then they get worse, or these ones at the bottom, started out bad, got better. And what we found, okay, so here's a good example of one that started out negative, went positive again, and then went back down to negative. And just looking at this, it's really hard to know. I mean, if you're familiar with the project, then sure, you know exactly what happened. Okay, in April, we were really making hay and doing well, but then in June, we had some contractor issues, rework, broke a water main, whatever. But then just looking at this, you can't, you're just guessing what it is. These numbers don't tell you the story about what happened. So what we decided was that we needed a way to track issues on a project. And these are things that we would talk about, but it wouldn't really be recorded in a systematic way. So what I did was I added a feature on here that I can have like an issue that would pop up and it would have a date assigned to it. So this is just an example project. So the information isn't really, this isn't a real issue, but I would have, say this is a missing information type. And then I had a custom icon that would have like an eye over there. So you could see, okay, there's an eye there, missing information. You can hover over it and you can see the note. This is just, my note is just example, but it might, for a real issue, it might be like a story about what was happening there. Maybe it was inexperienced staff, scheduling changes.
That's really great. That's really, really great. The thing is, you're right. The profit versus billing curves don't tell you exactly what the issue was, but they do tell you where to look. So you're gonna can you go back to the one that like went up positive and then went back down negative?
Oh, I might be able to find that.
Right. Well, even
there's a lot of projects in here.
Right, that one right there. Just go back right there. So like this one, the tail is kind of flat at the end, right? Maybe with a tiny little, it looks like it's a 3-degree up bubble, right?
Yeah.
on the yellow line. That's your profit line, right?
The orange one is the profit line. Yeah.
So it's just really like dramatic because you're going, okay, well, the profit realization is sort of stable, even though it's not where we want it to be. We would like the profit margin to be a little bit higher, but it at least looks like it's sort of leveled off, which from a business standpoint is kind of good. At least it's leveling off and not going down, right? But even to get to that point required work, because you can see that it wasn't a straight shot up to level. So everything between where it's kind of flat to where it was down before is sort of like, all right, well, that is something that worked. So what were we doing in that point during that space? Like, what were we doing that obviously went well? Thing number one. And thing number two, like the in the space before that where it was obviously down, why was it not working? Oh, okay, well, this might just be the ramp up period.
Yeah.
Yep.
And something else we can do with this is that we can see the issues down here below, so more of a like a list view. And then we can even see like the timesheet details here. Nice. So I have this connected to where the timesheets are coming in, and this has saved a lot of time for our project managers, because before they would have to sort of like flip through like at least 2 or 3 different reports to get all of this information.
Right.
And now they can just look at here and see, okay, something happened right here. What was the issue? Okay, this is the issue. Okay, who was working on that? And then they can see, okay, Matt Ferris had a conversation with Brandon about as-built procedures, or some of these are more like short stories. But it just gives a little bit more explanation on what was going on there.
That's powerful, Kyle.
Yeah.
That's actually really good.
And I have some parameter. I really like parameter actions. If you haven't used parameters, I highly recommend them. So I like to use them for things like this.
Mhm.
where I can sort by, oh, well, now this one's not working.
Hmm.
Okay, well, I will have it for things like this where do I want to look at job to date for a project, or do I want to look at year to date, and I can just flip through that
Mhm.
pretty quickly without changing a bunch of, that would be multiple filters otherwise.
Right.
But instead of instead of doing like a filter, I use a parameter filter to flip between those.
I'm going to admit that my utilization of parameters is not the highest it could be. I really maybe you and I need to jam separately, because I need to learn from somebody like better to get better at parameters. Parameters seems to be one of those things that's sort of like a stumbling block for a lot of people.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm definitely one of those people.
And they're not, I'm gonna say they're not terribly difficult to use, but there can just be some tricky things there with like I have this stupid thing where I update a workbook that uses, I have the same data source that's with more than one workbook, and then
Mhm.
it updates it and then gets duplicated somehow. And it's just the stupidest thing. And so anyway, I fixed that now. So this is what I was going to show you, that I have sometimes I want to sort things differently. Like instead of looking at, sometimes I want to look at the employee first,
Mhm.
and then look at the day that they worked. So I can see, or I could drill up and I could see, okay, this is how many hours this employee worked. But sometimes I want to look at what is the phase.
Right.
And then I want to look at this phase, this is how many hours were worked, and I want to see what, and that's something that the people who are using this aren't going to be able to go in and play around with columns and change which order the columns are in. So what I do is I have a parameter that changes the dimension that goes into each of these.
Mm.
So that can be a handy little trick.
Yeah.
Also switching between net and gross, because people would ask me like, okay, that's net revenue, what about gross revenue? Or so I change it back to gross revenue, and then someone else is like, you have it in gross revenue, can you show that to me in net? And then I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to give you a little toggle here, and you can
You can,
decide what you want to look at, so I
right.
don't have to build two completely different dashboards
Right.
to show these things.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly.
So
No,
anyway,
that's really good. That's really good. I like the custom icons.
yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with custom icons lately. For those of you who don't know how to do custom icons, it's pretty simple to do with the, so I have the shapes in here. So like normally you have like default filled arrows. Well, you can add your own groups in there too. So like I have one for issue tracking. So these are icons that I added manually, and you just have to find the folder. If you're interested, I can send you the link. Well, this is where it is. It's going to be in your Tableau repository, and then shapes, and then you just make a new folder, and then you can upload your own images here to use as custom images. And I have some for that. I did that with our groups too. So like we have like surveying, transportation, water, structures. So instead of just showing a name or something, sometimes it's easier just to show a picture to represent things like that. Yeah. So the other thing I was going to show you was some, so we're moving from quantitative analysis like profit, revenue, schedule, to the qualitative analysis. Yeah, I'm getting those words right, qualitative. So we're looking at what kinds of issues are on the project, what are the, like we're looking into the comments a tool that you can use that we've started to use, but probably not as much as we could, is you can look at something called sentiment analysis, which will basically analyze the words in a just a text, like a text field, and it will tell you, is it positive or negative? So for instance, this project manager had a timesheet. These are the negative ones and these are the positive ones. So this one, he said, I was drawing up section cuts, rearranged everything, this project, because it was a mess. So this program could look at that and say, okay, that's a negative 5.57 for sentiment. So that's a negative comment. And that you can use that to sort of filter through, and instead of reading through every single comment, maybe you can use this to filter out, like maybe these are the ones that we need to check out. And they're not always like this one says cold form steel for KIA project, and this is a negative 0.7. I'm guessing that it thought that KIA was like killed in action or something. And and maybe it thought that
that's what I thought when you said it first.
Yeah, but in this context, I don't think I think that's an abbreviation for a company.
That's definitely not what it means.
Yeah, so there's definitely a lot of false positives and false negatives in here, but so it's not like you still have to go through and read it and decide if this is real or not. But another way that I used this was on performance analysis. So for the employees, they put in their performance review at the end of the year, and then there's I mean, they give ratings, of course, and then there's a narrative. And then I was just interested to see what it looked like if I looked at these. You know, sometimes people had really good ratings, like they got a 1 rating, like exceeds expectations. But then maybe there could be some comments in there that you know, they have some issues that they could work on. So again, you could use this for surveys. You could use this for any kind of written text to just help you with analyzing that. And so I think I would like to use it
Sentiment
just
analysis is another one of those things that's really like that gets used a lot in marketing, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing is, if you can, this is a really good point for another way to use Tableau for our industry, right? If you're monitoring your social feeds, for example, around your company, and you can feed the data into a platform like this, and you can figure out how the community online is reacting to your company, right?
Yeah.
And then you can use that, you can leverage that information to decide how it is that you need to put out your new marketing campaigns, or what issues you may need to address, or how you may need to show up or represent yourself.
Yeah, so yeah, you're right. I think this is a very well established tool in marketing and other fields like that. I don't think I've ever seen that being used in construction or engineering. Not to say that someone hasn't. I'm sure someone has, but there's I'm interested to throw this out there and see if anyone has heard of this or used it in our industry before.
I have not seen it, but I can tell you that, you know, I can almost guarantee you that firms that are above a certain dollar threshold are doing this in their marketing departments. I can almost guarantee it.
So this was another example of, I took a single employee and looked at his timesheets and looked at in a given month. Maybe this would be a way to figure out, is this employee doing okay, or are they struggling? And I sort of just reviewed some of the negative ones and just some of the issues. You can sort of read into this how frustrated the person was at the time. So if I see someone, you know, that had, I guess none of these are too bad, but I've seen some of them that would be like, you know, kill me now, or you know, just writing stuff. I mean, I'm hoping it was joking. It seemed, knowing the person, I think it was joking, but you could tell that he was just frustrated when he was filling out his timesheet. And like that's something that someone should probably be, you know, like his supervisor sees it, of course, when he has to approve the timesheets. But you know, this could just be another tool that we could use in human resources. Maybe you could predict when someone's going to leave, or if someone's getting close to leaving, based on maybe their timesheets are getting progressively more negative.
Right. Yeah, you know, and that's a great point, because like the way that this crosses over is that there's organizations, like there's actually entire companies that just do this type of analysis for other companies. And one of those is a company called Click, spelled Klik, right? And so they have their own internal, this type of analysis, and they can, you know, they can figure out when different things are supposed to, are about to happen in terms of their batch of employees. They can figure out how stuff is going externally, internally, because they're constantly evaluating these types of metrics. And you're right, you're 100% right. This does not happen in the construction industry at all.
Yeah. So I was just going to show you guys quickly how I got to this point, and it's pretty it's a pretty cool little, let's see if I can find that. So there's a couple of websites I can send that I found. I'm not a programmer by any means. I started out my career as a Bob the Builder, out there with a shovel and you know, manning the concrete chute. So that is to say that if I can figure out how to do this, I'm pretty sure that anybody could. So I'll share this in the chat with a couple of sites I found that just step you through the process of how to do it. And I really just copied and pasted in the code and just switched out the fields. So it looks something like this, where you have a script. You have a script command, and then you just copy in the Tableau or the Python. It's called Tableau Python code, and it does everything for you. And I honestly couldn't really tell you what this means, but I know that when I hit the OK button, it gives me an answer, so it must be right.
Right. That's great.
There's a lot of other. I'm just sort of dipping my toes in here too with Python. I know that you can really go a lot of ways with Python. Is a pretty powerful tool.
Yeah.
For data mining and analytic processes, but it's not great for visualization. So that's a really powerful combination, where you can combine the utility of Python with the visualization and the interactive ability of Tableau. So I think there's a lot of potential there.
There's a huge amount of potential there. Huge.
Yeah. So I was wondering, has anyone on the call ever used Tableau Python or something similar like that?
When I was doing some crossover work with emergency management, we had like different teams. There was the hardcore data science team, and those were the guys that were super deep into R and Python and scripting in the background. And then there was the Tableau build team, and that's what I was on, right? And they would mine all of the data and then dump it into spreadsheets that made it utilizable in Tableau. And then we would build dashboards out of it.
Mm.
So and that frequently happens in a lot of organizations where you have like a data science team, and those are the people who are literally writing all of those codes all the time, right? And that's just what they do. They just write code all day. And then you have builders that take what they produce and make the stuff,
Mm. Yeah. That'd be great if we were a company that was 10 times larger and had the resources for that. But
and the thing is, and as we're all here meeting about it, that's a real critical thing, because as you build these types of collectives, if you have a group, even if it's a small group, even if like you, Kyle, were the guy doing the Python and I was doing the build on the front end, right? And that's just an example. That's just an example, right?
Mhm.
But like if you've got a collective that does that, that's a marketable team that's worth a lot of money.
Yeah, I think consultants are overrated personally. I'd rather figure out how to do it myself. But no, yeah, I think you're right. That is a large value.
Mm-hmm. No, it doesn't necessarily need to be consultants, but just because you have actual organizations that are just built around the scripting and the building, and that's just what the organization does, and there's a huge amount of money dealing with that.
Yeah. So I think that's all I had for the sentiment analysis. Yeah, that was it. I guess the only other thing I was going to share was one of the tricks that I use when I bring the data in is I like to do a union with these tables. So I have these other tables are like the ledgers. There's one for the ledger tables, and then there's another one for the projects table. And then another one down here is I union in the issues. So I'm not joining if you try to join the issues to the ledgers, then you're going to end up duplicating everything, right? Because it's not gonna, the connection's that's not what it's made for. So I like to do these unions, and I think it all you have to have the same data source, or I don't know. I have it all in the same database, which makes it a lot easier. But when you're bringing this in, I really like doing the custom SQL and doing the unions for the data. And this has solved a lot of problems for me as far as analysis is concerned. You could also use a relationship table, and I've used relationships a little bit, but I've gotten so used to the unions that if I figure out how to do something with the union, then I try to do the same thing in a relationship and it doesn't work. So I just go back to the union. And I just end up with a bunch of null fields because there's a lot of fields that make sense in a ledger but don't make sense in an issue. And I can do the aggregations and level of detail calculations a lot easier when it's sorted like this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop sharing.
Actually, it's getting on 5 o'clock here in New York, so I gotta jump off because I actually have a 6 o'clock coming up that I need to get ready for.
All right.
But really good to see everybody. Happy to hear all the stories. I'm definitely gonna reach out to Kelly because I have a bunch of questions I gotta ask her. And
Okay.
Thank you everyone for sharing. I'll see you all next time.
Yep. See you later.
Bye, Dave.
Bye.
All right. Well, I was going to go to 4:30, but if we don't have anything else, then do you guys have anything else you'd like to discuss or bring up?
I had a quick question. So these sessions, are they hosted like on a monthly basis, or like will I get an email for the next one, or how does it work? I found this super helpful, and I'd like to join in next time as well.
Yeah, good question. Well, I'm glad you liked it. So we have these on a monthly basis. It's pretty new. We just started doing this at the beginning of this year. So we do it on the third Wednesday of the month, and I should have announced this at the beginning of the meeting, but next month we're going to do something a little different, that we're going to have like a workout Wednesday type of deal going on, where we're going to be working on a data set together.
Okay.
And that's something that Tableau puts out. And then, so we're all working on the same data, but we might present it differently. So that's a great learning opportunity. And then we can share, like, what did we do and why did we do it? And it's just a good way to pick up like tips and stuff with that. But yeah, you'll get an email for that. If you registered, if you RSVP'd for this event, then you'll be on the mailing list. And then I know Salesforce and Tableau, they also promote these things as well.
Great, thanks.
Yeah. And I don't know if we're doing anything there. There might be some special presentations during the Tableau conference. I know, I think Jack Heinman from our group is going to be presenting at the Tableau conference.
Yeah.
in
Is
November.
this the main Tableau conference for 2021?
Yeah.
Okay. And I heard it's virtual and free, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. And that's the way it was last year.
Was it? Okay.
And
I couldn't find the link for it. I mean, it sounds strange, but I Googled it, and I got a bunch of conferences, but I couldn't tell which one was like the main conference, I suppose.
I got
Do you know what the name of the conference is? Like just the
I'll find the link and I can send it to you.
That would be great.
Yeah, here it is. I just got an email about it with the link. So are you able to open that?
Awesome.
It's November 9th through the 11th. And that the conference last year was really how this group got started, because I met with several people like David I talked with, and Jack and some other folks, and they have these brain dates. They call them brain dates. Like basically you just meet together with someone one-on-one or in a small group and just talk about Tableau related things. So
nice.
If you have the opportunity, I would definitely recommend signing up for the conference. And I mean, the presentations they have there are really helpful. I've really learned a lot, or just looking at the Iron Viz competition and just seeing like the way that they do things. Like I had no idea that you could do that in Tableau, what these people are doing up there. But then also meeting one-on-one with people in our industry. And I've gotten a lot of ideas from the people in this group.
Yeah, the conference was highly recommended by the instructor that was teaching the Tableau course that I took. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be signing up for it, and hopefully I will see you all there too.
Yeah, I hope to see you there. Maybe, yeah. Great. Yeah, I went to the Tableau conference in Las Vegas in 2019, and that was a blast. That was really, it's not like any other conference I've been to before. It's pretty wild. But hopefully next year they'll do that in person.
I heard they can be big on celebrities too. Celebrities
yeah,
show
were
up,
they?
I don't know how true that is.
I think they had John Legend come in last year and do like
John Legend. That's the name I heard. Yeah.
Yeah. John Legend came in, and there was some other. I forget who the other celebrities, and I'm not a big John Legend guy, but I know other people were really excited about that.
Cool.
Yeah. All right.
Well, Kyle, thanks again. I'm going to bug you out. Appreciate all your work and keep this thing moving.
Yep. Thanks for joining us, and
All right.
Hope to
Goodbye,
see you next
everybody.
time. See ya.
Yeah, same here, Kyle. I'm gonna step away. It was nice meeting you, and I have a feeling I'll be seeing more of you soon too.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll get connected with you on LinkedIn or something.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Yeah, and I'll try to track you down as well.
Okay.
Okay. Have a wonderful
good.
day.
Have
Yeah.
a good day.
Cheers, bye.
Bye-bye.